हरे कृष्णा। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्नानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
You can read the words, right?
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। You recite, Prabhu, then I will repeat after you. Like that, you discuss on this particular verse, then later we'll go to next verse.
जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयात् इतरतश्चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट्
जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयात् इतरतश्चार्थेषु अभिघ्नस्वराट्
तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदि कवये मूयन्ति यः सूरयः।
तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादिकवे मुह्यन्ति यः सूरयः।
तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा
तेजो वारिमृधं यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा
न धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि।
धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि।
क्या बात।
You can read one time, I can read another full verse.
Okay. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयात् इतरचार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदि कवये मूयन्ति यः सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृतां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयात् इतरश्चार्थेष्वभिघ्नस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यः सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृधां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि।
Wow, wonderful.
Please read the word to word meaning.
Om, oh my Lord, Namaha, offering my obeisances, Bhagavate, unto the personality of Godhead, Vasudeva.
We do one thing, you read the Sanskrit word, then I will read the translation.
Okay, Vasudevaya.
Unto Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva, or Lord Krishna, the primeval Lord.
Janmadi.
Creation, sustenance, and destruction.
Asya.
Of the manifested universe.
Yataha.
From whom?
Anvayat.
Directly.
Itarata.
Indirectly.
Cha.
Cha and.
Arteshu.
Purposes.
Abhigya.
Fully cognizant.
Swarat.
Fully independent.
Tene.
Imported.
The Brahma.
The Vedic knowledge.
Hridaya.
The consciousness of the heart.
Ya.
One who.
Adi Kavaye.
Unto the original created being.
Muyanti.
Or illusioned.
Yat.
About whom?
Surayah.
Great sages and demigods.
Teja.
Fire.
Vari.
Water.
Mridam.
Earth.
यथा
as much as
विनिमयो
action and reaction,
यत यत्र
whereupon
त्रिसर्ग
three modes of creation, creative faculties,
अमृषा
almost factual,
धामना
along with all transcendental paraphernalia,
स्वेन
self-sufficiently,
सदा
always,
निरस्त
negation by absence,
कुहकम
illusion,
सत्यम
truth,
परम
absolute,
धीमहि.
I do meditate upon.
क्या
Please
बात
read
है.
the translation.
वाह वाह. I am so fortunate, huh? Oh my Lord, Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance and destruction of the manifested universe. He is eternal. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestation. He is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being, and by him even the great sages and demigod place into illusion as one is bewildered by the illusory representation of the water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universe temporarily manifested by the reaction of three modes of nature appears factual, although they are unreal. I meditate upon him, Lord Krishna, who is eternally existing in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from illusory representation of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Satyam Param Dhimahi. क्या बात है, क्या बात है. So ecstatic.
So let us understand this particular verse by reading the purport of Srila Prabhupada.
जय हो, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.
Purport by His Divine Grace A.B. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki.
जय जय.
Obeisance
Wonderful,
unto the personality of Godhead Vasudeva directly indicate Lord Sri Krishna, who is the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. This fact will be more explicitly explained in the text of this work. Sri Vasudeva asserts herein that Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all other are his direct and indirect plenary portions, are portions of the portion. Srila Jiva Goswami has given more explicitly explained the subject matter in his Krishna Sandarbha. And Brahma, the original living being, has explained the subject of Sri Krishna substantially in his treatise named Brahma Samhita. In an Upanishad, in the Samaveda, it is also stated that Lord Sri Krishna is the divine son of Devaki. Therefore, in this prayer, the first proposition holds that Lord Sri Krishna is the primeval Lord. And if any transcendental nomenclature is to be understood as belonging to the absolute personality of Godhead, it must be the name indicated by the word Krishna, which means all attractive. In Bhagavad Gita, in many places, the Lord asserts himself to be the original personality of Godhead. And this is confined by Arjuna, and also by great sages like Narada, Vyasa, and many others. In the Padma Purana, it is also stated that out of the innumerable names of the Lord, the name of Krishna is the principal one. Vasudeva indicates the plenary portion of this plenary portion of the personality of Godhead, and all the different forms of the Lord being identical with the Vasudeva are indicated in this text. The name Vasudeva particularly indicates the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Sri Krishna is always meditated upon by the Paramahamsas, who are perfected ones among those in the renounced order of life.
Wow, क्या बात है. Wow, I'm feeling ecstatic, you know.
So Prabhupada says that my purports are aesthetic Bhaktivinoda purports. So we are
सही
receiving
में.
names eaten by Prabhupada. So we have to feel blessed. So in this
सही.
purport, Prabhupada
Really,
mentioned
really.
who is Krishna, what is name, and who all accepted Krishna. Vasudeva himself accepted the Krishna Supreme Personality Godhead, and he told there are many portions of portions of portions of portions. But many acharyas like Jiva Goswami in Krishna Sandarbha, even in Brahma Samhita, Brahma, Lord Brahma, they all accepted Krishna is the primeval Lord, the absolute personality of Godhead. So if you want to give any name, even the Upanishad is called Samaveda also, they accept Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, absolute truth. And it also understood that Sri Krishna is the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. But in the transcendental understanding of absolute truth, we must understand that Krishna is all attractive. And who else accepted him as supreme personal Godhead? From Bhagavad Gita, we learn that Arjuna says, what is that verse? You remember? Please recite the verse.
I don't remember that verse. I have Bhagavad Gita along with me.
Dama Pavitram Purusham.
Paramam Bhava.
Or Param
क्या हो गया?
Param Dhamam Pavitram Paramam Bhavam Purusham Shashwatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Vidhu Ahustam Rishaya Sarve Devarshi Naradastata Ahito Devalo Vyasa Swayam Chaiva Bravisime. So that is a verse. The sages like Narada, sages like Asita, and many all are accepted Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead.
Supreme personality of Godhead. Okay.
And in Padma Purana, it says there is Krishna's many names and many forms. But Vasudeva is indicates a plenary portion of Krishna, who is identical with Vasudeva. And Vasudeva particularly indicates the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Krishna is always meditated upon by many Paramahamsas. That is a Kunti Maharani prayer.
You remember that verse? I don't remember that verse.
No problem. So the essence is that the great Paramahamsas who are perfected among renounced order of life, they meditate on Krishna, Vasudeva.
How a Stree like me can remember you? In that verse it is mentioned.
Yeah. Please read next paragraph.
Vasudev or Lord Shri Krishna is the cause of all causes. Everything that exists emanates from the Lord. How this is so is explained in the later chapters of this work. This work is described by Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya as the spotless Purana because it contains the transcendental narration of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. The history of Srimad Bhagavatam is also very glorious. It was compiled by Sri Vyasadeva after he had attained maturity in the transcendental knowledge. He wrote this under the instruction of Sri Naradji, his spiritual master. Vyasadeva compiled all Vedic literatures containing 4 divisions of Vedas, the Vedanta Sutra, the Brahma Sutra, the Puranas, the Mahabharatas, and so on. But nevertheless, he was not satisfied. His dissatisfaction was observed by his spiritual master, and thus Narada advised him to write on the transcendental activity of the Lord Shri Krishna. These transcendental activity are described specifically in the 10th canto of this work, but in order to reach to the very substance, one must proceed gradually by developing knowledge of this the category. So Vasudev is the cause of Sri Krishna, is the cause of all causes, and this Purana is a spotless Amala Puran because it contains pure devotional service devoid of karma and jnana, and this is very glorious because after maturity, the Vasudev had compiled so many literatures, Vedic literatures, and he has written many smritis also, many commentaries also. After all his work, this is his latest work. After attaining maturity, he has after seeing the spiritual and material energy of the Lord, he uh, has compiled this, and uh, this is the essence of all the Vedic literatures, Vedanta Sutras, Puranas, Mahabharatas, and because and specifically Srila Narad Muni advised him to mention the transcendental leelas activities of the Lord. So that is mentioned specifically in the 10th canto. So we must go gradually to develop the knowledge of the categories. There are different categories in Bhagavatam, and we have to go gradually.
It is natural that a philosophical mind wants to know about the origin of the creation. At night, he sees the stars in the sky and he naturally speculates about their inhabitants. Such inquiries are natural for man because man has a developed consciousness which is higher than that of animals. The author of Srimad Bhagavatam gives a direct answer to such inquiries. He says that the Lord Krishna is the origin of all creation. He is not only the creator of the universe, but the destroyer as well. The manifested cosmic man nature is created a certain period by the will of the Lord. It is maintained for some time and then annihilated by his will. Therefore, the supreme will is behind all cosmic creations and activities. Of course, there are atheists of various categories who do not believe in a creator, but that is due to a poor fund of knowledge. The modern scientist, for example, has created a space satellite, and by some arrangement or other, these satellites are thrown into outer space to fly for some time at the control of scientist who is far away. Similarly, all the universes with innumerable stars and planets are controlled by the intelligence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prabhupada is very amazingly explaining how any common man, when you sleep, especially we sleep on the terrace in the summertime, sometimes also when we see the stars on the sky, and common inquisitiveness from where this skies came, people speculate the star means somebody will stay there, some demigod, some like speculations. So to answer that, the directly answer is there in the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam only, given by Vasudev. And all his creations by Krishna. Krishna only created it. Not only he is a creator, he also destroys. And what is the question of your speculation? Of course, if you are atheist, then you can do that. And we understand because you are atheist, because you are poor fund of knowledge. And now you see you are so advanced in the technology and science, you make small rocket kind of space satellite and you keep in the outer space by some arrangement and controlled by some scientist. But you don't understand, your small brain can create this small planet. Why can't the Supreme Personality God, Supreme Intelligence can keep the many universes and stars in the sky? So this is what argument of Prabhupada. Jai Ho.
Jai Ho, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Please read, Prabhuji.
You are keeping track of your time, na? Till what time you want to continue?
Now we'll finish this verse.
Okay. In Vedic literatures, it is said that the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is the chief among all living personalities. All living beings, beginning from the first created being Brahma down to the smallest ant, are individual living being, and above Brahma there are other living being with individual capacities, and the personality Godhead is also a similar living being. Uh, He is an individual as are the other living being, but the Supreme Lord or the Supreme Living Being has the greatest intelligence, and he possesses supermost inconceivable variety of all different variety. If a man's brain can produce a space satellite, one can very easily imagine how brain higher than man can produce similar wonderful things which are far superior. The reasonable person will easily accept this argument, but there are stubborn atheists who would never agree. Srila Vyasadeva, Srila Vyasadeva, however, at once accepts the supreme intelligence as Parmeshwara, and he offers this respectful obeisances unto the supreme intelligence addressed as Para or Parameshwara or the supreme personality of Godhead. And that Parameshwara is Sri Krishna as admitted in Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures delivered by Sri Vyasadeva, and specifically in this Srimad Bhagavatam. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that there is no other Paratattva than himself. Therefore, Srila Vyasadeva at once worship the Paratattva Sri Krishna, whose transcendental activities are described in the 10th canto. So, in the Vedic literatures, the absolute truth personality of Godhead is described, and the living entities from Brahma to or down to an ant are individual, small, infinitesimal living being, but they they do not possess all the qualities in same quantity and quality as possessed by the Supreme Lord. So we can produce a human brain can produce some wonderful thing, but there are many. The supreme intelligence, supreme Lord Parameshwara Krishna has produced more wonderful magnanimous thing, like different planets that have emanated from his breathing, from his pores of his breathe, of his skin, that is inconceivable than the tiny manifestation by the living entities. So therefore the supreme Lord is Krishna, and it is admitted by Srila Vyasadeva in Bhagavad Gita, and in this Srimad Bhagavatam as Paratattva, and Srila Vyasadeva also describes his transcendental activities Leela in the later chapters of this book. So basically in this paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is explaining how Krishna, the supreme intelligence, is the Parameshwara, and it is incomparable to individual living being.
Jai Ho. The next paragraph. Unscrupulous persons go immediately to the 10th canto, and especially to these 5 chapters which describes the Lord's Rasa dance. This portion of Srimad Bhagavatam is the most confidential part of the great literature. Unless one is thoroughly accomplished in the transcendental knowledge of the Lord, one is sure to misunderstand the Lord's worshipable transcendental pastimes called Rasa dance and his love affairs with the gopis. This subject matter is highly spiritual, and only the liberated persons who have gradually attained the stages of Paramahamsa can transcendentally release this Rasa dance. Srila Vyasadeva therefore gives a reader the chance to gradually develop spiritual realization before actually releasing the essence of the pastimes of the Lord. Therefore, he purposefully invokes a Gayatri mantra saying Dhimahi. This Gayatri mantra is meant for spiritually advanced people. When one is successful in chanting the Gayatri mantra, he can enter into the transcendental portion of the Lord. One must therefore acquire Brahmanical qualities or be perfectly situated in the quality of goodness in order to chant the Gayatri mantra successfully and then attain the stage of transcendental realization the Lord. His name, his fame, his qualities, and so on. So Prabhupada is very heavy on the unscrupulous persons, uncultured persons, atheists, rascals, fools. They simply wanted to go directly to the 10th canto, giving up all these cantos prior to that. And especially in the 10th canto, 5 chapters of Krishna's Rasa Leela. But you understand, you wanted to directly take this part of literature and remaining or you are neglecting. This only you taste and thoroughly you have to accomplish the transcendental knowledge of the Lord. Otherwise, you surely misunderstands the Lord's the topmost leelas of rasa dance and his affairs, loving affairs with the gopis. And this particular 5 chapter subject matter is highly superlative degree spiritual. This only understandable by the liberated persons, Paramahamsanam. But especially by the mercy of Vyasadeva, we can also gradually develop to that stage of Paramahamsa by gradually following the steps of this bhakti. And that's why Vyasadeva has given in the starting the Gayatri mantra mentioning the Dhimahi. And this Gayatri mantra is not for the fools and rascals and unscrupulous persons. It is for elevated souls. And by chanting this mantra, you have to be Brahmanas has to chant Gayatri mantra. Brahmana not by thread, Brahmana by qualifications, Brahmanical qualities one must have. And slowly from the Brahmanical qualities, you come to good quality of goodness. From this, you come to the transcendental stage. Then only you can understand the Lord's name, fame, and qualities, and so on. Then only you understand this literature of 10th canto. Yes, Prabhuji. Continue.
Srimad Bhagavatam is the narration of the Swarupa of the Lord manifested by his internal potency, and this potency is distinguished from the external potency which manifested the cosmic world, which is within our experience. Wow. Srila Vyasadeva makes a clear distinction between the two in this shloka. Srila Vyasadeva says herein that the manifested internal potency is real, whereas the external manifestation in the form of material experience existence is only temporary and illusory, like mirage in the desert. In the desert mirage, there is no actual water. There is only appearance of water. Real water is somewhere else. The manifested cosmic creation appears as reality, but reality of which this is but a shadow is in the spiritual world. The manifested cosmic creation appears reality, but the reality of which this is but a shadow in the spiritual world. मतलब material cosmic creation का reality is there in the spiritual world. क्या बात? Absolute truth is in the spiritual sky, not the material sky. In the material sky, everything is relative truth. This is to say one truth depends on something else. This cosmic creation results from interaction of the 3 modes of nature, and the temporary manifestation are so created as to present illusion of the reality to be bewildered mind of the conditioned soul who appears in so many species, including higher demigod like Brahma, Indra, Chandra, and so on. In actuality, there is no reality in the manifested world. There appears to be reality, however, because of the truth reality which exists in the spiritual world, where the personality of Godhead eternally exists with his transcendental paraphernalia.
Yes, please explain the paragraph.
The Srimad Bhagavatam is the narration of the internal potency of the Lord, and this is different from the external. मतलब Lord has two potencies, internal and external potency, and one is dependent on others. The external potency is a reflection of the internal potency of the Lord, and external potency is the relative truth, and the actual truth of the external this thing external reality is present in the internal reality. Okay, and though there are many living being which have some extraordinary powers like Brahma, Indra, Chandra, and so on, but they are also, however, dependent on the spiritual reality of the Lord. That is the Supreme Lord Himself. They are so the external reality is dependent on the internal reality, the internal potency of the Lord.
Anything else?
Yeah, there is an example given like a mirage. You know, it looks like there is a water there, but there is no real water. So therefore, in the material world, we try to find the actual reality, but actual reality doesn't exist. In the material world, only temporary manifestation of the spiritual reality, but actual reality only relative truth. So it is very difficult for us to comprehend because we consider this reality as absolute reality, and this wife and children and mother, but we know that we one day this reality, our reality is going to end, and it is now because in the time of corona we see that it's become very painful because of lack of knowledge of this temporariness of this reality. So when people are losing their relatives, that has become very painful हो गया थोड़ा.
Amazing. And how this material world is bewilders great people, kind of Brahma, Indra, Chandra, and many people. We are also.
Actually they are also part of external reality.
So the chief engineer of the complicated construction does not personally take part in the construction, but he knows every nook and corner because everything is done under his direction. He knows everything about the construction, both directly and indirectly. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is a supreme engineer of this cosmic creation, knows everything nook and corner. Although affairs are being carried out by demigods, beginning from Lord Brahma down to the insignificant ant, no one is independent in the material creation. The hand of the Lord is seen everywhere. All material elements as well as spiritual sparks emanates from him only. And whatever is created in this material world is but the interaction of two energies, the material and the spiritual, which emanates from the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. A chemist can manufacture water in the chemical laboratory by mixing hydrogen and oxygen, H2O. But in reality, the living entity works in the laboratory under the direction of the Supreme Lord. And the materials with which he works are also supplied by the Lord. The Lord knows everything directly and indirectly. And he is cognizant of all minute details. He is fully independent. He is compared to a mine of gold, and cosmic creation is so many different forms and compared to objects made from the gold, such as gold rings, necklaces, and so on. The gold ring and the gold necklace are qualitatively one with the gold in the mine, but quantitatively the gold is the mine is different. Therefore, the absolute truth is simultaneously one and different. Nothing is absolutely equal with absolute truth. But at the same time, nothing is independent of the absolute truth. So, the material world, if you see any construction take place, even the civil engineers, especially the chief engineers, complicated construction, whatever is happening in this part of any construction, he has to know every nook and corner, where what is going on, where what things exactly. Either he should know directly or indirectly. So similarly, similarly, if you understand the supreme personality of Godhead, he is a supreme engineer. It's not a chief engineer, supreme engineer of all cosmic creation. But he is employing, some chief engineer employs his employees to do the construction work. There, all employees are working according to the direction of the chief engineer. Similarly, all the demigods, beginning from Brahma to Ant, all are working under the knowledge of Krishna, under the design of Krishna, who is a supreme engineer. Then we can see the hand of Lord everywhere, because we can see the material elements as well as spiritual parts. Both are emanating from Krishna only. And when we created this material world also, we see the two energies, basically material energy and spiritual energy, are both are from Krishna only, absolute truth. So if you see in the chemical laboratory, they make some kind of chemical compositions. Example is given here, water, H2O, they add and make the laboratory. Similarly, this both the H2O and the chemist, the both are the part of Krishna. That means the spiritual part and the chemicals also given by Krishna. So he knows directly and indirectly everything. He is a cognizant of every minute details. And not only that, he is fully independent as well. Here is compare that he is a mine of gold. Gold contains everything. And there are some creations of his objects. Examples, different forms, like same gold is in the form of ring, same gold in the form of necklace, same gold is in different forms. But the gold ring and the gold necklace are qualitatively the gold. They are also gold. But the quantity of the gold is different. There are quality and the quantity. Therefore, the absolute truth simultaneously one and different. Nothing is absolutely equal with the absolute truth. That is the same, but nothing is independent of the absolute truth. This must be understood. This is the truth of this particular paragraph. Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha.
Can scroll. Conditioned soul beginning from Brahma, who engineers the entire universe down to the insignificant, and are all created, but none of them is independent of the Supreme Lord. The materialistic wrongly thinks that there is no creator other than his own self. This is called Maya or illusion. But because of poor fund of knowledge, the materialistic cannot see beyond the purview of the imperfect senses, and thus he thinks that matter automatically takes its own shape without aid of the superior intelligence. This is refuted in the shloka by Srila Vyasadeva, since the complete whole or the absolute truth is the source of everything. Nothing can be independent of the body of the absolute truth. Whatever happens to the body quickly comes to them, becomes known to be embodied. Similarly, the creation in the body of the absolute whole. Therefore, the absolute knows everything directly and indirectly that happens in the creation. So we, due to illusion, we consider that there is no superior reality creator, but we from the Shastras we can know that Brahmaji is a supreme engineer, but beyond him is the supreme Lord. And due to our imperfect senses, we don't have superior intelligence to understand. So the complete whole is the source of the individual part, and whatever happens to the body quickly becomes to be known to be embodied. Similarly, so the individual parts of the body are part of the whole body. As similarly, every part of the creation is part of the Supreme Lord, and he is cognizant directly and directly of the whatever happens in the creation. Abhigya Swarat. He knows every experience in the material world. Abhigya.
Amazing. In the Shruti mantra, it is also stated that the absolute all or Brahman is the ultimate source of everything. Everything emanates from him and everything is maintained by him, and at the end everything enters into him. That is the law of nature. In the Smriti mantra, the same is confined. It is said that the source from which everything emanates at the beginning of Brahma's millennium and the reservoir to which everything ultimately enters is the absolute truth or Brahman. A material scientist take it for granted that the ultimate source of the planetary system is the sun. But they are unable to explain the source of the sun. Herein the ultimate source is explained. According to the Vedic literature, Brahma, who may be compared to sun, is not the ultimate creator. It is stated in the sloka that Brahma was taught Vedic knowledge by the personality of Godhead. One may argue that Brahma, being the original living being, could not be inspired because there was no other being living at the time. Herein it is stated that the Supreme Lord inspired the secondary creator Brahma in order that Brahma could carry out his creative functions. So the supreme intelligence behind all creation is the absolute Godhead, who is Krishna, Sri Krishna. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna states that it is he only who superintends the creative energy, Prakriti, which constitutes the totality of matter. Therefore, Sri Vyasadeva does not worship Brahma, but the Supreme Lord, who guides Brahma in his creative activities. In this sloka, the particular word Abhigna and Swarat are significant. These two words distinguish the Supreme Lord from all other living entities. No other living entity is either Abhigna or Swarat. That is, no one is either fully cognizant or fully independent. Even Brahma has to meditate upon the Supreme Lord to order to create. Then what to speak of a great scientist like Einstein? And the brains of the scientists are certainly not the products of any human being. Scientists cannot manufacture such a brain. What to speak of foolish atheists who defy the authority of the law? Even Mayavadi personalists who flatter themselves that they can become one with the Lord are neither Abhigna nor Swarat. Such impersonalists undergo severe austerities to acquire knowledge to become one with the Lord. But ultimately they become dependent on some rich disciple who supplies them with money to build monasteries and temples. Atheists like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu had to undergo severe penances before they could flout the authority of the Lord. But ultimately, they were rendered helpless and could not save themselves when the Lord appeared before them as a cruel death. This is also the case with the modern atheist who also dare to float to the authority of the Lord. Such atheists will be dealt with similarly, for history repeats itself. Whenever man neglects the authority of the Lord, nature and her laws are there to penalize them. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita also, 4.7. Well-known verse that Yada Yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Complete that.
Abhyudhanam adharmasya tadatmanam shriramya.
Whenever there is a decline of dharma and rise of adharma, O Arjuna, then I incarnate myself.
Wow.
These purports of Prabhupada were very, very enlivening and very much faith-giving and confidence and source of inspiration for all of us. And he's quoting from Smriti mantras saying that how the absolute all and the Brahman are the ultimate source of everything. When we say ultimate source of everything, we have to understand all the creations, all the emanations came from him and maintained by him, and at the end also enter into him. So this is the law of the nature. This is confined to the Shruti mantras. And we have to understand he is source from everything, emanates from beginning with Brahma's millennium. And this same explanation is given how in the Brahma's beginning millennium, how everything is created, then reserved for some time. Ultimately, all everything is entered into the absolute truth. That is called Brahman. And materialistic scientists, they take it as a granted that ultimate source is, they consider that everything came from the sun. Some big bang happened, the sun came and all the planets came. But they are unable to explain what is the source of sun. If you say that ultimately explained the Brahman, if you say that is Brahman, according to the Vedic literature, Brahman who may be compared to the sun, you may be comparing the sun, but it is not the ultimate creator, the Brahma also. Because it is stated in the sloka that Brahma was taught the spiritual knowledge, Vedic knowledge. By whom? The Supreme Personality of Krishna. One may be argue, Brahma is the original being, he could not inspire himself. Yeah, that time no other living entity is present. So he was inspired by Lord within himself. That's why the Brahma becomes the secondary creator. He's not the primary creator. So he has to take the creative function, he has to take the energy, he has to take the inspiration, he has to get the intelligence, he has to get everything from Krishna. The supreme intelligence behind all the creations is Sri Krishna. That we understand from Bhagavad Gita also. What is the verse? Prakriti kriyamanani
Gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara iti.
Yeah.
Kartamiti manyate.
So Krishna is a superintendent of all the Prakriti natures and is considered total matter. Therefore, Vasudeva does not worship Brahma, but he worships the Supreme Lord who guides the Brahma. So Brahma is a creative activity. He is the Rajoguna form. He is a creator. He is one of the form of these three principal deities. The Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara is a Brahma. And especially in this particular verse, the two words are very significant. They are Abhigna and Swarat. So these two words distinguish from the Supreme Lord and other living entities. Nobody can be Abhigna and Swarat. And that means nobody can fully cognizant, fully independent. Even if you ask the Brahma also, he also has to meditate on the Lord to create. What to speak of the scientists, the so-called scientists like Einstein and many other scientists, they also has to get the brain from Krishna. They don't have any independent, neither they are fully cognizant. So scientists cannot manufacture such a brain. And what to speak of fools? These scientists has a little compared to good brains, but what is these atheists are foolish. They defy the Lord authority. They themselves, they know God only. And what to speak of this Mayavadis? They flatter themselves they are God. And if you say you are God, then you prove these two words. Are you Abhigna and are you Sarat? Are fully cognizant and are fully independent? And if not, then why are you doing so much austerities to acquire the knowledge and become one with the Lord? If you are Lord, why you have to do undergo severe austerities? And at the end, you people, Mayavadis, you depend on you rich disciples and get the money supply from them, and you eat and you sleep and you make some construction like this. And if you are atheist, you have histories proven. If you are atheist, if you defy the laws of God, there are histories proven. Ravana and Hiranyakashipu, they have done great penance, and after doing great penance, they have the audacity to go against the Lord of the authority of the Lord, and they have proven they have defeated by the Lord in the form of death. And similarly, modern scientists also, they have to dare. When they are defying the authority, they have to face this difficulty. So we have to understand from the history. And whenever the man neglects the Lord, it is a nature, and the laws himself they penalize them. It's not the Lord has to personally come, and you have to undergo the consequences. And sometimes Lord also comes in the form of this. Whenever the declared dharma arises in the dharma and protects the Lord incarnates himself. Amazing. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Hare Bol.
Please read.
Then scroll.
Yeah, scroll already.
Scroll.
Yeah.
No, this thing you read, na?
I have read this.
Okay, that the Supreme Lord is all perfect, is confirmed in all Shruti Mantra. It is said in the Shruti Mantra that all perfected Lord threw a glance over matter and thus created all living beings. The living beings are part and parcel of the Lord, and He impregnated the vast material creation with the seed of the spiritual spark, and thus the creative energy are set in motion to enact so wonderful creation. An atheist may argue that God is no more except than a watchmaker, but of course God is greater because he can create machine in duplicate male and female form. The male and female form of the different types of machineries goes on producing innumerable similar machines without God's full attention. If a man could manufacture such a machine set of machine that could produce other machine without attention, then he could approach the intelligence of the God. But that it is not possible, for even for each machine has to be handled individually. Therefore, no one can create as well as God. Another name of the God is Asam
Asudha.
Asamur Asamurdhva, which means that no one is equal or greater than him. Param Satya, or the supreme truth, is he is one, he who has no equal or superior. This is confirmed in the Shruti mantra. It is said that before the creation of the material universe, there existed the Lord only, which who is master of everyone. The Lord instructed Brahma. What is that? With the the Lord instructed Brahma in the Vedic knowledge. The Lord has to be obeyed in all respect. Anyone who wants to get rid of material entanglement must surrender unto him. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. So the atheist may argue that God is like a watchmaker. Watchmaker just uses the ingredients and starts the clock. But the Supreme Lord is not like that. He is the all. There are four causes. So he is Supreme Lord is the material cause also, and also the efficient cause and the instrumental cause. So the atheist may think that just Lord is just like an instrumental cause, just he's just he's just his material world is working on its own, and Lord may just once in a while start or make some function, but it is not like that. Lord is the Param Satya, which means that there is not possible for any living individual being to produce such a machine that as Lord has done by his own intelligence. So that therefore the Lord is
Samu-
Asamurdhva.
Sama a
Uh,
u-
u-
sama a u-
Urdhva.
no,
Yeah, no one is equal to him and no one is greater to him, right? This is also confirmed in the Shruti, and so the Lord instructs all the living entities, Brahma. So everybody is subservient subservient to the Lord. No one is superior or equal to the Lord. So there is no chance of being any of being equal in any quality of the Lord.
So what is that verse from Bhagavad Gita? Some surrender to Krishna, he will be free from meddling and entanglement.
तेषाम् अंतगतं पापं जनानां पुण्यकर्माणां ते द्वन्द्वमोहनिर्मुक्ता भजन्ते. What is that word? Are you referring to Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja?
Surrender, yes, yes, yes. One must surrender to get rid of this metal entanglement. Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam saranaham tam sarva papi mokshesham. Okay. Next paragraph. Unless one surrender unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, it is certain that he will be bewildered. When an intelligent man surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord and knows completely that Krishna is the cause of all causes, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, then only can such an intelligent man becomes a Mahatma, a great soul. But such a great soul is rarely seen. Only the Mahatmas can understand that Supreme Lord is the primeval cause of all creations. He is the Parama, the ultimate truth, because all other truths are related to him. He is omniscient. For him, there is no illusion. So, what is the verse from Bhagavad Gita which says that Krishna is the cause of all causes? And we are surrendered to his Mahatma, great soul.
Mahatmanastu mam parda daivim prakriti ashrita. What is the second line?
Bhajanti Anand.
I forgot. You can you say?
Yeah, same thing only. Whoever this accepts the internal potency and giving of the mental potency, he is a great intelligent man. For him, there is no illusion.
Yes.
So, unless until we surrender to Krishna, it is very difficult to be free from the bewilderment of this material world, material nature. And who surrender to Krishna? Not the fools, not the rascals, not the unscrupulous man, not the Mayavadis, not the impersonalists. Only the intelligent people surrender to Krishna. How they surrender? They surrender to Krishna knowing that Krishna is all cause of all causes. And that particular
Gyatva
person,
Mahatmanastu mam parta devim prakriti ashrita bhajantya ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. Sorry for interrupting.
yeah. So that is the way of Mahatmas, the great souls are. And that particular Mahatmas, great souls are seen very rare. Samahatma Sudurlabha. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. And
Yes.
only these Mahatmas can understand the Supreme Lord is the cause of all causes.
Can you see me?
Yes, I am able to see you. And another important thing is whenever you say anything truth, how we know how much that is truth? That has to be related with Krishna. If that is no more clear to Krishna, that is only truth. The comparison of any other relative truth has to be compared with the ultimate truth, that is Krishna, because he's omniscient. From him, there is no illusion. If illusion, if you want to define, if you want to define anything, illusion or any other thing, that has to be from Krishna only. Without Krishna, there is no definition only. Please read, Prabhu.
Some Mayavadi scholars argue that Srimad Bhagavatam was not compiled by Sri Vyasadeva, and some of them suggest that this book is a modern creation written by someone named Vopadev. In order to refute such meaningless argument, Srila Sridhar Swami points out that there is a reference to Bhagavatam in many of the older Puranas. This first shloka of Bhagavatam begins with the Gayatri mantra. There is reference to this in the Matsya Purana, which is the oldest Purana. In that Purana, it is said that this said with reference to Gayatri mantra in the Bhagavatam that there are many narration of the spiritual instruction beginning with the Gayatri mantra, and then
continue reading.
There is reference to this in the Matsya Purana, which is the oldest Purana. In that Purana, it is said with reference to the Gayatri Mantra in the Bhagavatam that there are many narration of spiritual instruction beginning with Gayatri Mantra, and there is the history of Vitrasura. Anyone who makes a gift of this great work on the full moon day attains the highest perfection of life by returning to Godhead. There is a reference to Bhagavata in other Puranas also, where it is clearly stated that this work was finished in 12 cantos, which includes 18,000 shlokas. In the Padma Purana also there is a reference to Bhagavatam in conversation with Gautama and Amrish Maharaj. The king was advised therein to read regularly Srimad Bhagavatam if he desires liberation from material bondage. Under the circumstances, there is no doubt about the authority of Bhagavatam. Within the past 500 years, many erudite scholars and acharyas like Srila Jiva Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Vallabhacharya, and many other distinct scholars, even from the time of Lord Chaitanya, have made elaborate commentaries on Bhagavatam, and the serious student would do well to attempt to go through them to better relish the transcendental message. Here, Vallabhacharya, even though Prabhu, there was a discussion between Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji, but he's accepted here. So in one of the Puranas, it is mentioned like the Bhagavatam is a king of all the Puranas. I read one of the Puranas, and there are other Puranas who are fanning Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is sitting like a king on a throne, and one Purana is doing Chamar, one Purana is fanning with peacock feather, other Purana is doing Pada Sevanam. So all the Puranas are subservient to this Purana, and so there is a discussion in Tattva Sandarbha that about this origin of Srimad Bhagavatam, and there is a very important discussion, and every Gaudiya Vaishnava must go through that discussion. So that Tattva Sandarbha by Jiva Goswami, he mentions that when the Vedic literature came from the breathing of the Lord, okay, at that time all the Vedic literature in their personified form appeared to Brahmaji. So Bhagavatam is as eternal as Vedas. When the Vedas originated in the manifested in the material world, at that time Bhagavatam also manifested. Not that suddenly Bhagavatam has came up in the Kali Yuga. No, no. Bhagavatam in its own essence, in the personified form, is always present along with all the Vedic literatures in the Brahma Loka. And time and again, when this message is lost, then Krishna and his other plenary portions, they come and rejuvenate this message. But this is Bhagavatam is eternal. And so Sridhar Swami gives the point of Gayatri Mantra being mentioned, and in the Matsya Purana with reference to Gayatri Mantra, okay, and the pastimes of Vitrasura, and even Maharaj Amrish was recommended to read Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam is eternal, and this message of Bhagavatam was first spoken by Narayana to Ananta Shesha, and that is also mentioned in the this Bhagavatam itself and other Puranas. So the Bhagavatam is eternal, but this message has been delivered to the living entities in a different way, and now we have uh, we have received this message through Vyasadev, but earlier this message was received through other being. Okay, but this Bhagavatam is as eternal as the Vedas.
Please tell me about this argument given by Mayavadis that Srimad Bhagavatam is not compiled by Vasudev but the Vopadev. So what is the concern?
Ha!
Who is that Vopadev? Who is that rascal?
I have no idea who Vopadev is, but there is amongst the Mayavadi Advaita philosophers, there is a very big discussion between Shruti and Smriti, and this.
And what
you know who is Vopadev?
On what basis these Mayavadi scholars argue that Srimad Bhagavatam is not compiled by Sri Vasudev? On what basis we have is compiled by Vasudev?
They don't accept the authority of Vasudev. Okay. First point, they only accept Apurushaya, what is coming from the breathing of the Lord. Okay, Vedavani. Okay, that is Shruti. This is a very big discussion there in Hari Bhakti Vilas and other this thing Satkriya Saradipika and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and also Tattva Sandarbha. Our acharyas have like in 500 years before, this was a very big discussion. Okay, and to establish Bhagavatam, only to establish Bhagavatam, entire book is written, Tattva Sandarbha. To establish Bhagavatam is not a very easy job. Okay, so इस बात के लिए book लिख दिया खाली, मालूम है? So Jiva Goswami mentions that in his very strong arguments from other Vedic literatures that Bhagavatam is eternal as Vedas. Okay, and there are many references in the Vedic literatures that in the past also Bhagavatam was being read and Bhagavatam was being discussed and Bhagavatam generated from the breathing of the Lord. Not that now this version of Bhagavatam, what we are referring to is given by Vyasadeva, but even if you don't accept Vyasadeva as the incarnation of the Lord, still Bhagavatam is considered eternal and it is mentioned in the Shruti itself that Bhagavatam is as eternal, Puranas and Itihas is eternal as the Smritis are as eternal as the Shruti.
So amazing, you have to get the reference to share, and then later the things that Bhagavad Purana, if you meet some Matsya Purana, somewhere it is mentioned that if you give this literature, great literature work gift some on the full moon day, and you will get the benefit.
Brahmanda Purana. Brahmanda Purana that is mentioned.
You have to share all these things and research. Okay, let me continue.
Tomorrow I will get that thing.
Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur specifically deals with the original and pure sex psychology that is called Adi Rasa, devoid of mundane inebriety. The whole material creation is moving under the principle of sex life. In modern civilization, sex life is a focal point of all activities, isn't it? Whatever one turns his face, he sees sex life is predominant. Therefore, sex life is not unreal. Its reality is experienced in the spiritual world. The material sexy life is but a perverted reflection of the original fact. The original fact is that in the absolute truth, and thus the absolute truth cannot be impersonal. It is not possible to be impersonal and contain pure sex life. Consequently, the impersonalist philosophers have given indirect impetus to the abominable mundane sex life because they have overstressed the impersonality of the absolute truth. Consequently, man without information of the actual spiritual form of sex has accepted perverted material sex life is all in all. And there is a distinction between sex life in the diseased material condition and spiritual sex life. So we have to be very, very grateful and thankful for Acharyas, especially Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He deals the original topics of pure sex psychology, that is Adi Rasa. And that is completely devoid of this mundane sex. And now we have to understand this whole world, material world, creation, everything is moving under the one principle, that is Maithun, the sex life. And in the modern civilization, if you see, wherever you turn your face, you only see sex life is predominant. And therefore, sex life is not unreal. Just a minute. So this sex life is not unreal. So how everything is reflected from the spiritual world, everything is like copy paste, everything is a copy of a spiritual world. And this material world sex is there, that means there is a pure sex available in the spiritual world. This material sex life is a perverted form of the original fact. And this absolute truth cannot be impersonal. Now the point comes is very important for the impersonal. If you say impersonal, you say everything impersonal. How the impersonal have a pure sex? And in the impersonal, you don't have sex. That's why you consider this material world here you enjoy sex. And if you accept, this particular material world has a sex, then you have to accept the personal form of the sex. So that's how these two impersonal philosophers has to give an indirect impetus for the abominable sex. And they have overstressed this impersonality. So this makes the people offenders on the Krishnas when they say like this. So the actual spiritual sex life is accepted as material form is here in this, and there is a distinction between the sex life and diseased material condition, the sex material and spiritual sex life. So 10 minutes. Yeah, please read the last paragraph of today.
Krishna is Rasaraj, is embodiment, Akila Rasamrita Sindhu, is embodiment of all rasa, including sex rasa. So in its level, spiritual absolute level, that is pure. But when it comes to material level, it becomes perverted. This Srimad Bhagavatam will gradually elevate the unbiased reader to the highest perfection stage of transcendence. It will enable him to transcend the three modes of material activity, fruitive, speculative, philosophy, and worship of functional deities as included in the Vedic verses. So this Bhagavatam is Amala Puran, pure, highest transcendent stage. It leads to the reader to the highest stage of transcendence, which is beyond the karma kanda, just worshipping a particular deities to get some result, or to the speculative knowledge of jnana kanda, or the impersonal jnana perfection, or getting some mystic yoga. This is generally considered the spiritual life in Vedic format, but Bhagavatam leads to the beyond to the Pancham Purushar, that is Prema Pumartho Mahan, that is the pure unalloyed loving service.
Amazing. His Grace Radha Ras Bihari Prabhu. All glories to, like this every day we try to cover one verse or one next two verse, whatever time permits. Whenever something, some days happening, some days not happening.
Even
We have to
if it is half an hour, it's okay. It need not go very long time. If it आधा घंटा भी चलेगा.
yeah, fine. More also fine.